You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button.
As we get closer to the NFL draft, Jayden Daniels' draft status is going to be one of the more fascinating draft prospects to follow. There's a big piece up at ESPN.com right now coming out of this week in the college football season, and Matt Miller, one of the ESPN draft analysts, listed his draft risers from week 10 of the college football season. He's got Jalen Polk, the wide receiver out of Washington, as one of them, but he's also got Jayden Daniels, the quarterback from LSU, as the other. And he notes, Daniels is my QB 6. Went off in a loss to Alabama with 219 passing yards, 163 rushing yards, and 3 total scores. His lean 6'4", 210-pound frame does take a beating, and he left the game in concussion protocol, but he's an electric passer with an excellent deep touch, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football when it comes to beating defenses with his legs. Daniels continues to impress me. And while the senior has an early round 3 grade at the moment, I might need to bump that up. Again, that was Matt Miller over at ESPN. Early round 3 grade. That surprises me a little, and I understand where Jayden was coming into this season in the minds of a lot of scouts, but clearly he's had a much better season than darn near anybody could have projected for him. But when I look at Jayden and where he may fall in the draft, I look at where are the draft needy teams. So there's a website called Tankathon, and it basically follows week to week the NFL's record, all sports, but and where you would fall in a mock draft. So as of right now, if you looked at a mock draft for the NFL, this is how it would kind of play out. And what's interesting to me is think about what Matt Miller said. So he has Jayden Daniels right now as his 6th best quarterback in this draft and might need to bump that up. Okay. How many quarterback needy teams are in this draft? Like, this is what gets me. We all know at the top of the draft, Caleb Williams, Drake May are everybody's 1 and 2. After that, there's a ton of great quarterbacks from Jayden Daniels and Shedeur Sanders and Michael Penix and Michael Pratt. There's a bunch of great players. Bo Nix. In whatever order they may go, we'll see as you go through the rest of the season. Senior Bowl, Combine, all that stuff. But look at this draft. The Cardinals are picking first. And they gave Kyler Murray a ton of money. But I think we all agree that the Cardinals are taking Caleb Williams, number 1. Number 2, the Bears have the number 2 and 3, according to this, if it plays out this way, because they have Carolina's pick. So the Bears would have the 2nd pick from Carolina and their pick, which would be number 3. Are the Bears likely to draft a quarterback? It kind of feels that way. I know they drafted Justin Fields, but there's this growing feeling like he may not be the fit in Chicago with that coaching staff, so they could go another direction. The Giants just invested a lot of money in Daniel Jones, so I don't know that I think the Giants pick a quarterback. They got New England at 5. Could we all agree that New England is probably moving on from Mac Jones and going to take a quarterback? I think that's a safe assumption. Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi, not the answer. The Rams are next. And yes, they've got Matthew Stafford, but how much longer does Matthew Stafford play? Did they look for his heir? Possibly. Green Bay's picking next, and Jordan Love has been a disappointment. Is Green Bay likely in the market for a quarterback? Tampa is at 8. They're 100% drafting a quarterback. If not in round 1 somewhere, they're going to take a quarterback. Denver's got a ton of money invested in Russell Wilson, as we know. But Sean Payton, you would feel, is going to have the opportunity to draft a quarterback eventually. They're at 9. And their round out the top 10 is Tennessee, who took Malik Willis 2 years ago and took Will Levis last year, in this 2 drafts ago, and then Will Levis this year. So back-to-back drafts, they've taken a quarterback. Maybe not there. Then you've got the Chargers, who are good with Herbert. The Falcons, who very likely are going to draft a quarterback. Washington, likely to draft a quarterback. Las Vegas, likely to draft a quarterback. The Colts got their franchise guy. Houston's other pick that goes to Arizona. Buffalo, good. The Jets possibly drafting a quarterback. The Saints, who really knows? Minnesota, do they pay Kirk Cousins? What happens there? Dallas could be in the market. Do you see my point? Like, just running through this draft, like, half the league, I could make a case, is in the market for a first round, for a quarterback in round one. Which means, like, when I look at these mock drafts that only have Caleb Williams and Drake May going 1, 2, and that's the only quarterbacks going in round one, it's mind-boggling to me because half the league, you could make a very compelling case to draft a quarterback. So it feels like for a guy like Jayden Daniels, there's a ton of room to jump from maybe the 8th or 6th best quarterback to the 3rd best. If you could elevate yourself above that jumble of guys after Caleb Williams, Drake May. It's plausible that Jayden Daniels could end up being the 3rd best quarterback, 3rd highest drafted quarterback in this class and could be a top 10 pick. Or he could be where Matt Miller has him presently as an early round 3 pick. So watching all of these quarterbacks over the next month and Senior Bowl and Combine, Pro Day, that it's just going to be a fascinating year because you have this consensus thought that it's a great draft year for quarterbacks and a whole bunch of teams that need them, but not many mock drafts projecting a lot of quarterbacks in round. So we'll obviously continue to follow that here in the days, weeks, and months leading up to the draft.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.